All right, we're going to start off with question 13. We're here with second period. Question number 13. Which equation describes all the points that are 13 units away from the point 512? So this is actually also testing your understanding of a circle. Remember, a circle is the set of all points equidistant from a center point or a given point. Well, right away, we know anytime we go from the center to the formula, here's the formula, we have to switch the signs. So if this is positive 5, I know I'm going to have negative 5 and negative 12 inside. So right away, we're going to eliminate B and D. The other thing is the formula says radius squared. So if it's 13 units away, 13 squared is going to give us 169. So that's why our answer is choice A. For the next question, this one we have to do the completing the square twice. So remember, we group the x's, leave a space, group the y's, leave a space, and then this has to go to this side. And since this is positive 28, Jamani, this will become negative 28. So then I know I'm going to write the equation. So we've got x space squared plus y space squared equals. And then to complete the square, going down, we divide by 2. So this will become negative 10. Going up, we square it. So we're going to add 100. Then going down again, we divide by 2, positive 7. Going up, we square it, 49. Then we add all those numbers up. Pretty sure it's 121. And why are you messing up with me? So yeah, this will become 121. And we know that the formula says the radius squared equals 121. So just to get the radius, I have to take the square root. So my radius is 11, choice A. You literally had plenty of time to whisper for the past 45 to 50 minutes. Moving on. 15's a little tricky. It says Trinity uses Cavaliere's principle to show that the cylinder and the rectangular prism below have the same volume. So remember that Cavaliere's principle, the volumes have to be equal since we're using it. So we know the formula for the volume of a cylinder on the formula sheet is pi r squared height. And then the formula for a prism is length times width times height. So because here we know that our length, let's say, is 12, we're trying to find out what's our width. We don't know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the cylinder has to equal the prism. So that means that the formula pi r squared height has to equal the length times the width times the height. If we substitute 12 in for this length, we know the height, we're trying to find the width, which is x. So all I did was I substituted 12 in for the length, and I substituted x in for the width. So now, since we're solving for x, this is literal equation, so it's a little bit harder, but we're trying to get x. So what that means is we have to divide, sugar shoots, both sides by 12h, because we're trying to isolate this x. So these 12s would cancel. These heights would cancel. These heights would cancel. So we're left with x equals pi r squared divided by 12. So the answer is choice D. It wouldn't be choice B because we don't ever use pi in the formula for a prism. So they couldn't cancel out. So that's why it's not B. 11, Bethany has a sphere made of modeling clay. The dimensions of the sphere are shown below. Bethany used the clay from the sphere. So it gave us, we can tell that this says right here 11. So we know that our radius is 11. The cone has a base with a radius of 11 and a height of 11. How many cones this size can Bethany make? So we know we're talking about a sphere. And the formula for a sphere is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So really, the formula for this sphere is 4/3 times pi times 11 times 11 times 11. For the cone, we don't know. It says the cone has, the formula for cone is 1/3, pi r squared height. So it tells us that the radius is 11 and the height is 11. So now we're left with 1/3 times pi. Well, the radius squared is just going to be 11 times 11, and the height is 11. So we want to know how many more of one is there than the other. So I would do this by canceling. Here's a pi on this side. Here's a pi on this side. Here's an 11 on this side. Here's an 11 on this side. Here's an 11 on this side. Here's 11s here and here. So now we're left with one side has 4/3, the other side has 1/3. So how do we get from 1/3 to 4? We multiply by 4. So that's our answer. I like how you decide when I'm teaching instead of when we're Next, 17. So in the diagram below, there's a rectangle plotted. It's up here. It wants to know, it's in quadrant 2, it's going to get plotted in 4. So let's look. The dimensions of this rectangle are 4 by 6. So we're going to plot it on something that's 2. So if we're going from 4 to 2, what did we have to do to get from 4 to 2? Divide by what? 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So if we're at 6, how long does our rectangle have to be to get in order to, if we divide it by 2? 6 divided by 2? 3. Thank you. So I know whatever points I plot, I need to end up getting it to be 3 units long. So this first one, it says 4, -6, and 6, -6, which is actually the correct answer. Because that would give us a ratio of 2 to 3. Let's prove why the other ones are not correct, just so that you can see it. Here we have 4, -1 would put it right here. 6, -1, that would give us a 2 by 2, which is not what we want. This would give us a 2 by 2. We need to get a 2 by 3 because that's how we can use the scale dilation of 0.5. So then we know it's not going to be choice B. 4, -9. That's going to give us a 2 by 6, which isn't going to help us because we know the scale factor has to be the same. And then the last one, 4, -4, that would give us a 1 by 2, which would not be what we need. So that's how we work through those problems. Next, you'll definitely see at least one question on number 18, so I would make sure you know how to do it. 18 wants us this time to find the perpendicular. So we know our original slope is 1/2. So what would my perpendicular slope end up being? What's my perpendicular slope? Thank you. Is that Enoch? So we're going to eliminate C and D. So you have two options. One, you can do it the long way, which is actually how I showed kids yesterday. The easier way, since this is a multiple choice test, is just to plug it in. So I'm going to plug in 5 equals -2 times -2 minus 9. Well, this is going to give me 5 equals +4 minus 9. So that would give us -5, which is not what we want. 5 doesn't equal -5, so by process of elimination, we know it's choice B. Here it asks for midpoint. You do have to know the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula is basically add the x, divide by 2. Oh, sugar shoots. Add the x, divide by 2, add the y, divide by 2, or of course you could do x1 plus x2 divided by 2. That's disgusting if that happened. So this point is -3, +1. This point is +3, +5. So when I add the x's, I get -3 plus 3 divided by 2. That's going to give me 0 divided by 2, which is 0. So we can eliminate C and D. Thank you. Then I have 1 plus 5. 1 plus 5 is 6 divided by 2. That gives me, oh, sugar shoots. What did I do wrong? Oh, this is -1. This gives us 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it's A. That was my mistake.